the feminine side. The standpoint. Still listen to the feminine side. The standpoint.
Thank you so much. The name is Nuong Falong. Sometimes I'm a media professional. Sometimes I'm an entrepreneur. Every time I get asked to introduce myself, I'm not too sure what to say, because I believe that, as the older generation mentioned, when it comes to being a woman, you are everything. You play different roles at different times, and it can get confusing exactly which one you are and exactly which one defines you. So it's easier not to be defined. I'm just going to take a seat while I get through that. I think one of the themes perhaps Oyinere should consider next year should be powerful stories and powerful lessons, because that's what we had with the senior generation just now. There were a lot of powerful stories there. I remember Women Are Wow, and that was very well exhibited, because after they were done, you're not sure which lesson to retain, because you've heard so much and you're taking your time to process it. It takes a bit. So, Nananum, who are present, the media, my colleagues, my seniors, let me just say all protocols observed. I see a lot of people in the crowd, some of them my teachers. I see CEOs, Madam Asabi Asari, hello. Our Nobel Peace Laureate, hello, give us a wave again. Thank you so much for being here, all the way from Liberia. I see Madam Yawa, hello. Thank you everyone for being here. So we are just going to go into the younger generation. They say we're the younger generation, but I feel old most days. So this is quite interesting. I'm just going to invite the panelists for this particular session. And Madam, I see her hair all the way from here. If you need hair tips and hair advice, remember to talk to Lydia Forson before she leaves. Lydia Forson, if you can please join me up here. Yes. Yeah, you thought I was talking to someone else. Please. You're required up here. Thank you so much. Lydia Forson is an actress. She's a writer. She's also an entrepreneur. Anywhere. That's a very lovely outfit. I love the bold hair. Don't let her confuse you with the act. She's a very bold person, and you'll be finding out shortly. Let's also have Madam Talata, who was sitting right next to Lydia. Maldima Provençal. She's an entrepreneur. She's a multidisciplinary designer. She's also the founder of, you've heard of the brand Ambiance Scents and by Talata. She's been doing this for a long time. You should know her. You've probably used some of her products. Yes, I hear that. Please, a round of applause. Yes, I know. That's her. Yes. Also, the leader of the violence ministries. I think a lot of people know her before I even mention her. Bashira to Kamal Muslim. She's a trade unionist. She's also calls herself a feminist. Okay. She's a gender, labor, and safeguarding specialist. She works with the General Agricultural Workers Union of the TUC. She wears a lot of hats and has a lot of qualifications. You will find a lot of it coming across in her speech today. She's also part of the cohort of the Ghanaian Women's Social Leadership Program and a fellow in charge of the Gender and Equality Pillar and a council member of the Center for Social Justice. She used to be one of the conveners for Fix the Country. So if you're looking for how to mobilize, how to get women together, how to have gender inclusive policies, Bashiratu is the woman to speak to. If you're looking for confidence and you don't have it, talk to Bashiratu. You'll find your confidence. Beatrice Anangfio, if you're here, my lady, she's a lawyer and a very vocal politician. I was just told she's part of the violence ministries. If you want to revive your career too, you can talk to her. Okay. Thank you so much, ladies, for being here. Our dear Queen Mother, Mama Jidwazi. She's a sub-divisional Queen Mother for the B traditional area. Very beautiful outfit. So, my ladies, first I would like to thank Ohiniri for putting together everything. She's put in so much work. Sometimes when I am calling her, I feel bad because I know I'm interrupting something and she's probably tired or trying to take a break or in the middle of something. And we thank you so much for your hard work, for the impact that you've had, for the inspiration that you are to millions of women. If I can hear a round of applause for Hiniri. Thank you so much. We are giving you your flowers now. Let me start the conversation. Who is going to volunteer to start? Ash, you do a lot of work. Sometimes when I'm looking at your status, I'm never too sure exactly where you are. You are local, you are international, you are in the bushes, you are in the village, you are somewhere abroad. In your line of work, can you tell us one moment in all of these travels and all of this work you have done where amplifying the voice of women led to positive change?
Let me highlight two. We have three chairpersons in the leadership of the TUC. We have the national chairperson, then we have the first vice chairperson and the second vice. Now, the second vice is an affirmative action position. It's reserved for only women. So the chairperson and the first vice is elected. So anyone can contest, but it's always the men's affair. But the second one is the woman. Constitutionally, we have 4-year limits like the presidential and the parliamentary election. For the whole 4 years, the women will never get to chair a meeting. They will come and wear kaba, and they will call them to do opening and closing prayers and vote of thanks, and we end. So when the time is up for them to even contest for first vice, they are asked the question, but it wasn't her fault. When will the chairman not be available? For the first vice not be available, for you to have the chance to chair a meeting. So it was a very difficult thing for us. In the end, we pushed and fought the system and introduced what we call co-chairing. So whenever there is a meeting, the chairperson chairs from morning to like snack. After snack, the first vice chairs. Then after lunch, the second vice, who is the woman, gets to chair. So people can see that she can also perform. And it got us changing a lot of the misconceptions and narratives about rubber stamp women leadership. Just put her there. Because then the women started showing that they were also up to the task, and they could also chair meetings. And that was one of the challenging moments where I was threatened. I had a lot of, it was very difficult for me at the time as well. Yeah.
Gosh, that was very powerful. Thank you for sharing. I wanted to also find out how easy it was to get that constitutional amendment, but I'll come to you again. Let me come to Talata.
The standpoint. The standpoint.
Still on feminine perspectives. In your line of work, how do you include women? How do you try to incorporate women's perspectives, women's opinions in the work that you do?
They give you the questions before you come, and you think you have the perfect answer.
Oh, I should have mentioned that I used to be a journalist. Then, you know that.
Okay, so for me, I am a firm believer, or I'm one person who never toes the line that women are the worst enemies of women, because personally I've been an entrepreneur all my life. I keep on saying I've never gone for a job interview before. And I would testify that my business has grown to the place it is through the inspiration and the support of women who went ahead of me, holding my hand, guiding me, and taking me to places that I never dreamt I could go before. So in doing my own business, I make a very intentional effort to give responsibilities which normally wouldn't be given to the girls in the workplace. Because I started off in the tech industry, which is very male dominated. And I think I have the unique perspective of knowing that women are capable of doing a whole lot of things that we don't traditionally entrust them with. So I do make a concerted effort to entrust my female employees with non-traditional tasks and roles, to let them also see that they can actually do more than they actually thought they could do right from the beginning.
Right.
So, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Lydia, yes, I know you thought I would be going around, but I've come to you. I think the first time I saw Lydia was on TV. And were you playing a ghost, Sting in the Tail?
Oh, yes.
I think you were a ghost. Yes. So it's good to see you in the flesh. I've met her in the flesh a few other times. You have been in the creative industry for a long time. Right. How important is it for us to highlight feminine perspectives in the creative industry?
Thank you so much. And I'm really excited that Dr. Sarah Dubaje is here. She was very impactful in my career. I was telling everybody the story of just how much she changed my life. And yeah, when we talk about filmmaking, storytelling, I don't think people even understand the power that is in there. It's fun when you turn on your TV and you see someone entertaining you and laughing. You watch a movie and you cry, you're sad, you're angry, but there's power in there because we have power over your emotion in that moment. When I entered the industry, I was still a very male-dominated industry, and the male perspective was obviously showing in the kind of movies we would watch. I mean, almost all of us grew up watching, it's always the man who do something, and then you abuse the woman, and then years later he finds God, and then he comes back, and then, because she's a Christian, she takes him back and then feeds him in the wheelchair, And as interesting as that is, it shapes your thought because because the stories come from us. All of us, my favorite thing is when I open my DM and someone says, my life is story, you should do a movie with it. I said, all of us, our life story is a movie. And you find yourself in these positions, and because of what you have watched, you might not remember, but in a way it has shaped the way you think. And you believe it's okay to take that abuse. You believe it's okay that a woman cannot fight for her position in society. You believe that she's not supposed to be more. When I entered the industry as a big, beautiful black woman, I was told many times that I was not beautiful enough. Yes, I was told I was too dark. The way I spoke, I was told no almost at every turn. And I said, you know what? I want to be a sex symbol. Why should beauty look one way? And so with the stories that I would get, thank you. With the stories that I would get, I started becoming very selective, because I'm like, I want people to watch this and see beauty in me. So when I would get a script, and I can be a very annoying film actor if I don't think that as a director or producer, you have thought through the script. I will read it and I'm like, no, I mean, let me give you an example, and I won't mention the show so that I can still make money. But on this show, I mean, it was about women, and there was a story. There was a scene we're filming, and in the scene, the woman is talking about looking for a husband. And at the end of the scene, she's supposed to say, "Oh God, God of single women, when will I find my own man?" I read the line and I went to the director, and I said, "I can't say this." So yeah, but it's the story. I said, no, it's not just the story. And whilst the character is not Lydia Forson, for where we are in our world today, this is dangerous. And I said, I don't mind if it leads to something. But it was not going anywhere. She was just saying that to say it. But that's where, as intentional as I am, I had a conversation with the director and I said, this is just not right. Because some little girl is going to watch this. Someone who is 39 years old, 40, 45, who's unmarried without children, is going to think that there's something wrong with their life. So that is what I believe in doing in whatever creative space I find myself. Being intentional in the stories, in the things that I put out, because I'm aware. My natural hair journey started when I cut my hair. We had moved back to Ghana. I didn't know that Ghanaian girls, they used to let you people cut your hair. Nobody told me that part. And when I cut my hair, I was so sad. And I watched TV and Dinah King had come on. Oh Lord of mercy, mercy. No, but do people remember that? Or I was a bad girl. But she has short hair. And she just looked so, I was like, wow. I mean, she has short hair like me. And she's on TV. And she's beautiful. So I started imagining in my head that I was Dinah King. And imagine how the impact it had on my life, even to adulthood. And that is why the stories we tell are important. And I'm very intentional in these spaces I find myself.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lydia. Inclusion, representation, inclusion in decision making. We've heard from Talata. Being intentional and driving the change that we want to see. I will just go to our Queen Mother. I'm still on feminine perspectives. So in your community, for example, how do you include women? How do you amplify the voices of women?
Thank you. I appreciate the fact that you say amplify. It's something we will not doubt that inclusion of women have been from inception. For me, I always say the woman is the salt in any meal you prepare. The woman is the most essential ingredient in preparing a healthy, good community. Without women, it will be difficult to go far. Now, they have their places already, right from our homes, our traditional institutions, everywhere. Growing up, my mother has her place. I have my place as a queen mother. Other queen mothers have their place. Women have their place. But how do we amplify their places and their voices? It's good to amplify the role of women when we begin to give them more space to do more, to do what they already do. We give them enough space and allow them to do it as a woman. When you come to my community, for instance, if we have festivals, if we have any cultural activity, it's mostly the women. You see them at the decision-making tables. You see them at the implementation stages. You even see them giving good account of events. When you give resources to a woman in my community, I can trust she will do it better I was installed at the age of 19, and I was just introduced into something new. I was lost in everything. And then one thing I told myself was, one day I want to be useful to my community members. But how do I get to be useful? I need to personally develop myself before I can deliver something to my people. Now, in the process of developing myself, I was exploiting all other things. My community members gave me the opportunity to go back to school or to learn more. So I took advantage of that. And then I kept adding on. Then one day, my younger brother, who I took in as, who I've lived with as a son, came to me with 500 CDs and was like, oh, my maiden name is Claudia. So he was like, Claudia, if I have to wait to do what I want to do for you, I will never get to do it for you, because I'm dreaming of doing so big things for you, but I can't wait to get the kind of money I am looking for to do what I want to do for you. But someone gave me 1,000 yesterday, and I feel I should share the little I have with you. When he left, I appreciated that gesture, but I thought through, do I have to wait to finish everything I want to do before I deliver or before I do something for my community? Then I'm like, no. Let me find something. Let me find a problem in the community. Let me look for something that is disturbing all of us, or something that is a threat to our future. Then I realized that the young women, especially the teenagers, have lost focus. And I'm like, yeah, I was lucky enough probably to have had some support, guidance, not to have fallen astray. How do I help these young people? How do I give them a voice? So we started this quarterly training, skills training, vocational training, mentorship, and all that. And on one of those special occasions when I was 15 years on the throne, our mommy was there to grace the occasion. Very memorable. Thank you. Having people at important places, or people with influence, come to mingle with our young women leaves a lot, gives them a lot of hope that, hey, one day I would also be like her. One day I'm going to do my best to be. I'll give you a petty example before I leave the mic. So there is one thing I always tell them. When you find this bottle at Movenpick, the price is different. When you find the same bottle on the street, it's at a different price. How you sell yourself is how much people will buy you. Okay, so if you want to be this, it is how you, and you start from the community. I mean, why would a man buy you a bottle of beer, a bottle of Guinness, and then the next time we know you are in bed with a man? And when you think about the cost of that Guinness, or it's just about 30 CDs or something. It's sad, but these are the kind of things that motivate them to think that, oh, this man is a rich guy. This man is, So I realized that young women were withdrawing slowly. There was one time I saw a few of them coming up with, walking on the street, drawing closer to where I was sitting. And I saw some of them with some bad guys in the community. I'm like, so all these things we've been preaching to them, they've not been listening or what? So I sat quietly in front of my gate. Then before they would get to my end, I don't know what happened, but the ladies have whispered something to the guys. So the guys will have to take a different route. And the ladies will have to walk alone to at least go past me if they are going to meet somewhere else. I don't know. But they got there, we had a chit chat, how is everything fine? And then when they were going, they're like, so you are scared of mama? You are scared. It's like, why you wanted to feel that I can't be the doctor or what? And I'm like, oh, okay. At least there is hope. At least it is it gives some satisfaction that they've realized that they are not supposed to be seen doing some kind of thing or involving themselves in some kind of activities that would not help. So for me, this is how I see practically giving voice to the young women in my community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mama. Thank you. Beatrice, the mantle has fallen on you.
I know.
So, first of all, how did you get into the space that you are? And how do we use policy to create change for women, positive change for women?
Okay, so I think everybody knows I'm a very shy person, so I'll try to.
Did she say she's shy?
Yes, I'm shy.
Yeah, sounds like me. I'm also usually shy.
And before I answer your question, I want to say congratulations to Oheneri. I mean, being a tough woman is not a very easy job. Sometimes nobody even believes you cry. And also the consistency is what is important. And I was just telling someone that to make it to the standpoint means that you've made it in life. So maybe I'll call my mother and say that it took me 15 years to get to the standpoint, but congratulations. And I say that weaving it into your question that representation matters. What people see is very important. I've had a lot of young women believing that they can be as assertive as anything because they think I'm shy and I perpetrate some violence on the screen. So representation matters. And because representation matters, as young women, we need not be swallowed up because policy is made from what policymakers believe matter to the people for whom they make the policy. And so I would use a classical example of a time when we had a very great team like Pepper Dems evolving on the scene. And I can see some of the Pepper Dem members here. And their policy or what they sought to do was to flip the script. And so for everything men were doing, they just flipped it and changed it to women. And we saw how disgusted many people were. It meant that for the many things that were happening to us as women, it could be disgusting. But then we've been conscientized enough to believe that it was just okay. I happen to come from a generation of three I wouldn't even say gender advocate, that's a bit mild. They are core feminists who, because they are not educated, don't even know they are feminists. But we were raised that way. So policymakers are afraid of votes. Many a times we are so shaken by what people's opinions are about us. And I'm a victim, don't worry. I don't go to weddings, parties, because I'm even afraid. I don't want people to say anything bad about me. Not that I care, but I just don't want to be on your agenda. This morning, when one of the well-wishers was speaking, he said that opposition is the price you pay for progress. And I think that for policymakers to begin to appreciate the gender issues, we must begin to dictate the pace. We must begin to make our voices heard. We must begin to be the change. The challenge with us sometimes is that we have been raised in ways that we think beyond being wives, we can never be good for anything. And so growing up, my mother started calling me Ajuman because she gave up on me that I'll marry. Funny enough, I was even the one who shamed her. Oh, I married very early. But she had given up completely that we were three girls, that two girls would give her grandchildren and live how parents will be proud of you. And then I was the only girl who liked school. I was masculine and all that. And so if you were to ask my mother what policy they should make for women, she would say that they should make policies that will help wives, isn't it? Because that is her reality. But you and I know that you can be more than, it's not even a title to be a wife. It's not, if anything, we are encumbered. We can't do so much like the men can do. But what I'm trying to say is that policy flow from us. policy flow from us. I don't know how men in parliament are supposed to make laws that affect breast and labor pains when they haven't felt it. At best, they can imagine. I remember when I was in the labor ward, my husband asked the doctor, is there no medicine that you can give her so that she can stop screaming? And the male doctor said, oh, we'll try and administer something, don't worry. And the female doctor came and said, this pain, nothing can make it go away. Why? Because she understood and she's been there. And so before people can make policy with feminine perspective, they must understand. And nobody understands the breast pain than the one with the breast. And so we must begin to shape policy direction. We must begin to be vocal, irrespective of the opposition. And it's some of the reasons why I don't like cameras. I don't take pictures. Nobody believes me. I don't even want to speak in front of people. But I'm here pretending that my legs are not shaking and I'm just happy because we have been asked to do that. And I think that you can also contribute your quota in shaping that perspective. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Beatrice. There are a lot of young women here. I want you to tell them how they can contribute to change and a positive narrative from your experience, from your perspective, from what you know. Give them 1 minute. So I'll start from our violence in chief. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Norm.
The standpoint. The standpoint.
So from me to the young people, I think the key thing which has run through most of the presentations today is the fact that be very selfish. I'll be very honest with you. You have to be selfish. And being selfish includes putting yourself first when you are making decisions. You cannot help people when you are shattered. You can't. You will put smiles on people's faces. You will go back home and you will not be able to look at yourself in the mirror because you were able to help others, but you are failing yourself. And I like what she said. She said you need to forgive yourself. It's okay to make mistakes. Any man who marries any woman on this earth, this one, me, I will say it, has an agenda. They don't get up and just marry the woman. They marry for a reason. But you, Adwa Mansa, you will say you love him and that ends the story. We will tell you that this one, the way he's been abusing you, when he marries you, he will finish you. Say, no, my heart is there. But it doesn't work like that for the male gender. Marry a man who fits into your career. You know your path. You know where you are going. If a man tells you, as a student leader, that all the nooks or gaps or SRC elections, conferences you've been going, he's not interested in those things, and you have an ambition to be in parliament, won't you be in parliament? Because he will marry you, and you will have to stop being political. Because the person has already shown you that they have a problem with that. There was a guy I dated who told me that when we marry, I have to move from Accra to Kumasi. The following day when he called me, I told him that the contract has ended. Because I'm sitting here in Accra. I work in Accra full time. I work as a consultant independently away from my normal job. My husband and my children are living in Kumasi. And sometimes I just go there. I go. 3 months I've not been there. And they are surviving. But the point I'm making is that I would have been divorced by now if the man had started showing signs of being oppressive, telling me that the way you've been traveling, I'm not happy. You are not cooking for me. You are not doing it will affect me because I have a career path. And if you don't fit into that career path, we have to help ourselves by going our separate ways so that I can live my life and you live yours. Please be very selfish. Look for men who fit into your career. You know the careers you are pursuing and stick to that. The other thing is that it is okay not to want to marry. I mean, if we all agree that not everybody can be rich, like Despite and Dangote, why should we sit and think that everybody should marry or everybody should have children?
Thank you.
We have to be sensitive and respect people's spaces and the decisions they've made for themselves. and not be asking questions about when are you marrying, when are you having children, when are you having more children, and all of that. It gives a lot of pressure to the women, and it takes their focus from economically empowering themselves to be self-independent. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, Beatrice, please go ahead.
Okay, so I would say that as young women, it's important we build capacity. I can't say this enough. The only reason sometimes the men are chosen over us is because over the years we focus on other things and leave building capacity. I have 2 first degrees, I have 3 masters, I've paused, but I would continue to build capacity in ways that I feel is important so that you can justify your inclusion. But most importantly, I interact with many young people and sometimes even older people. And what I see we lack is that many of us don't have a personal life development plan. Many of us don't know where we want to be in the next 5 years. And after 5 years, we don't know where we want to be in the next 10 years. I planned my life so much that I even knew the month I wanted to give birth to my second child. God was faithful. It could have gone it could have gone way back, or it could have just gone off, but I would have gone back to replan. It's important that you know where you want to be in the next 5 years. Many people who knew me forced me several times. I had a friend for 7 years. He tried to get me to speak on the screen. I didn't, because it was never part of my plan. And so when I was in my first baby was 3 years. However good you thought I was, it was not my plan. It was not my time. When I knew what I wanted to get, the capacities I wanted to build before I start, when I got there, nobody told me to start. And I think that for many people who know my story, I think it's a very glorious one. So it's important that you have a plan so that even the friends you make, so that even the relationships you build, so that even at this conference, you don't go smiling to the one with the beautiful dress and the best hair, but it will fit into a plan of who I want to be and where I want to go. I hope I made sense.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, please, Mama.
Thank you. Okay, so I would leave you with one thing. In a community, we have so many roles needed to grow a community. Wherever you find yourself, where you think you have strength, where you think you can do well, please be a complement to the development process. Let's be complementary and not competitive. Let's find things that we can also do to help the general or the total advancement of everybody. It is good to personally develop yourself, like I said, before you deliver. It is good to be selfish, like our sister said. But as we do that, let's see ourselves as complement, not competitions. Let's make good use of every opportunity that comes our way. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If you can just pass it on to Talata, this one.
All right. So for me, the thing I would leave with, I guess, the younger ones among us is you need to feel the fear and still push through it and do it anyway. And how do you do this? Because not all fingers are equal. We all don't have the same opportunities. Our circumstances could be different. But it all boils down, for me, to the importance of role models in your life. At the end of the day, I'm one person who struggled a bit in school. So I ended up dropping out of university even in the second year because I was just in a hurry to start business. But the only way I managed to get to where I am was to just find examples and just decide that, you know what, she did it, I can do it too. I had the benefit of having, Gifty. Well, I know her, Sister Nana. Yes. I had the benefit of observing her right from my teens. I was probably 13 or 14, and she was in GIJ at the time. Even when I left the country to Washington, D.C. to go to school, I had the opportunity of seeing her because of her journalism career, seeing all the things she could do, being able to see a woman that I could closely relate to, achieving so much. Gifty has had her challenges, and being able to still persevere and thrive, it basically gingered me on to be like, you know what, if she can do it, I can do it too. There are so many women in this space, and when I saw especially the list of women on our senior panel, I was so excited. I can't wait to give all of you a hug, because so many of you I have throughout my career, and you'll be surprised. I pick what I love best about you, and I let it encourage me. Sister Patricia, she actually also is one of the women who I secretly have admired for so long, because she's from my alma mater, St. Rose's. And I look at her, she's in corporate, I'm an entrepreneur, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter the industry the person is in. You just need to pick what you admire about them and do your absolute best. Trust the process, despite whatever challenges you face. Sister Yawa, I know I've been an admirer of yours for years. So many women here, and the sky is your limit. You can do it. Just find those who have done it too, and know that if it's possible for them to do it, you can do it too.
Thank you so much, Talata. Lydia.
I see that there are men here as well, so I don't want to address just the young women. One of my favorite quotes I absolutely live by is, he who sees any acts of injustice and does nothing is as culpable as the perpetrator. You have to look out for each other. People come in my DM, or when I see them in person, they say, "Oh, I like the way you fight us." I'm not. But what are you doing in that fight? On this journey, we have to have compassion. We are fighting for our rights because people who lack compassion have put us down. We are not fighting to give you just privileges. So if you see a woman going through something, say something. And I'm saying this to young men as well. We are not just fighting for women to make women better. When women are better, you are better. The patriarchy we are experiencing affects you too. So look out for each other. Don't just sit down and wait for Auntie Gifty or Talata to do this show, and we are always championing women's rights. We are not doing it so that you sit down. And it doesn't mean you have on social media or on TV, in wherever you find yourself. On this panel, there are women from different aspects of life. We are making impact wherever we find ourselves. So you have to look out for each other, even if it's not your problem. Because when they do it to another person and you don't speak up, they will do it to you. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. A round of applause again for our panelists. I've learned a lot today. Choosing the right partner, adding value to yourself, looking out for others, and pushing through even when you encounter difficulty. There's been so much here. I want to thank all of you, and thank you to our audience.
After celebrating our 15th anniversary, we need to know what the next agenda is. And to make that presentation is our conference host, Ohiniri Gifty Auntie.
Right, thank you very much. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of my lawyer, Irene Aboche Nyahe. Thank you so much. We started on the standpoint, and she's become my lawyer. I see my husband turn and look at her. Yeah, that's my lawyer. It's been a remarkable journey, 15 years of the standpoint. As the founder, executive producer, and host of this incredible show. The Standpoint, I must say, this is a proud moment for me, and indeed, it's very exciting. I'm at my excited most when I share the platform with women who have also charted their own path. Over the past decade and a half, the Standpoint has grown from a simple shared idea and discussed with my nephew, Mr. David Esuman Mensah, we call him my dad, into a powerful platform that has brought forth meaningful conversations, insights, and change. Reflecting on these years, I am reminded of the countless lessons we have learned from our guests, including today, our audience, and the world around us. We have witnessed firsthand the importance of diverse perspectives, the strength in vulnerability, and the profound impact that open dialogue can have on individuals and society as a whole. And I must say, I'm so glad we had these two panel discussions today because I have learned a lot. I don't know about you, but I am taking home with me a lot of lessons. Our mission from day one has been to give a voice to those who might not always have a platform, to shed light on untold stories and foster understanding even in the face of differing opinions, and ultimately empowering women and girls holistically. We were determined to dare step on toes. And have I? Have uncomfortable conversations and change the narrative or perspectives about women and girls. We were and still are determined to amplify the feminine voices. Sometimes I'm tempted to say to the chief that I'm sorry for some of the backlash he's received because of me, but I'll be lying because it won't stop. I'll keep stepping on toes. I'll keep creating problems, and you'll still get the backlash. So help you God. We have accomplished this by inviting guests from all walks of life, from renowned scholars, politicians, religious leaders, to everyday heroes and sheroes. We aim to expand our reach beyond borders, engaging with people, especially women, and get diverse perspectives from all around the world. This will allow us to tackle global issues with a nuanced and inclusive approach. Youth empowerment, and you can tell. One of my very first daughters is called Bridget, and somehow she has made politics her drink, her food, her water, her everything. And she makes sure that everywhere she turns up, even when she's supposed to help me, she comes with her party colors. Recognizing the potential of the younger generation, we plan to create special segments and collaborations that will empower young voices to address pressing concerns and drive change. I always get intrigued after conversation with the younger generation, and I must admit, I most of the time leave the conversations more informed. As they say these days, I get to know what's up. Interactive engagement. We will leverage on technology to enhance viewer participation, making the show more interactive and responsive to your questions and opinions in real time. I'm glad my sister Pat is here. Patricia Oponai is here. Impactful campaigns. Building on the success of previous initiatives, we are committed to initiating campaigns that address specific social issues, driving not just discussions, but also tangible actions for positive change. 5, deep dive series that provide a more comprehensive understanding of complex, hitherto taboo topics. We will introduce in-depth series that explore subjects over multiple episodes, delving into historical context, apart from opinions, and potentially finding solutions to them. Collaborative partners. We will forge partnership with organizations, academia, and influencers to amplify our message and collectively work towards a more informed and compassionate society. virtual reality experiences, embrace cutting-edge technology. We are excited to develop virtual reality experiences that transport viewers into the heart of our discussions, fostering empathy and understanding via our online viewing portals. Thanks to COVID, now we know that Zoom is a very powerful tool. 8, we will sometimes move from the studio setting into communities, villages, towns, and yes, countries across Africa and beyond. We will go to the campuses, religious settings, the churches, the mosque, and what have you. This is to ensure that every woman everywhere and anywhere is well represented and their voices heard. We will therefore be knocking on doors for support and collaborations. 9, we will form support groups made up of experts in various fields who can be of support to the women and girls in distress that we encounter. 10, we will also form groups of destiny helpers who can contribute monthly, quarterly to help us continue to empower, motivate, and inspire, and also stay on air. These are just a few of the exciting endeavors we have planned for the Standpoint future. But none of this would be possible without your ongoing support. As we embark on this new phase, we invite you to join us to share your ideas, to challenge our perspectives, which the panel that just left, the young generation, they fight with me a lot. But that's fine. I'm still their mother and big sister. As we embark on this new phase, we invite you to join us to share your ideas, to challenge our perspectives, and to stand with us as we continue to champion open dialogue, empathy, and positive change. Thank you for being a part of this incredible journey. Here is to the next 15 years, the Standpoint and beyond. Thank you to all the panelists. I just couldn't believe it, that I have the privilege of having you to be on the Standpoint at 15 program. It's been such an honor, and I am so grateful. So grateful. God bless you and replenish you. The next 2 years when I see you, okay, may you have, should I say, last bones? Not babies, but last bones of something. God bless you. Thank you.
Our special guest of honor, before Asabia, please come forward.
And please let me say thank you to Mama Jidoasi, EK's Ghana. I think she didn't tell. She has a bakery, and since I've known her for almost 4 years, every Standpoint activity, she makes sure she gives us cake, and we are so grateful. This is from her bakery. Thank you, Mama. Akpeo, mawira.